Alongside head soccer coach Brian Haddock and the rest of the 2017 Vianney soccer team, John Edwards with you inside the locker room. Prior to the team's semifinal match tomorrow against Kickapoo, and Coach, first for you, talk about last weekend's game against Francis Howell and what happened, and what were some of your thoughts about that game last weekend?
It was a game we expected. Obviously, the result is what we expected too, the big 3-1 victory, but how the game was played was how we prepared for it. We knew we'd play a Howell team that was fast, strong, very skillful, and a team that could score with some big kids in the back. And that's what we got. We weathered through a couple unfortunate situations during the game with a couple breakdowns, a lot of stoppages of play, which we kind of expected with a lot of our long balls. And I couldn't be happier for these guys with how they just battled and rose to the occasion as the game wore on.
Talk a little bit about the fact that you and I have sat down all season long, and you've said to me every week that, hey, this is a team effort, and how nice is it for it to be this weekend that you're all together here as a team and doing this process right now all together?
Yeah, obviously as a coach, when you see the hard work pay off tangibly, with a trip to the Final Four, that's the icing on the cake, because a lot of people don't see the effort and the work that goes in behind the season and behind the scenes that these guys do, not just on a day-to-day basis, but this goes back for these returners last February with weight room sessions and open fields and conditioning sessions. And until you get a tangible result, in this case a Final Four, it's really special.
First trip to the Final Four since 2010, and Stephen, talk about how special it is for you as an outgoing senior, as a captain of this team, to make it back to the Final Four for the first time in a long time.
Obviously, it's always special. From the beginning of the year, this team is unbelievable. We've had the same belief, and we're just really excited to get the opportunity to do this, and we're going to take full advantage of it.
TJ, you were injured a little bit towards the latter part of the season, but how special is it for you as a goalkeeper? And coaches emphasized all season long that things always start with the goalkeeper in the back and then go out front. How special is it for you?
I think it's pretty special for the team to have two top quality goalkeepers, especially for if it's me or Noah. I think the team feels safe no matter who's back there.
Ryan, for you as a senior, you've been a catalyst for this team, carrying much of the play this season, and it seems like when the offense works, the ball goes through you in the midfield, and talk about how special it is for you as an outgoing senior to make it to the Final Four.
Yeah, it means a lot. It's definitely something I've been dreaming about since I was a little kid when me and my dad would be coming to Vianney games. And not just me, also Ian and Trevor in the middle. Definitely people that our wing backs and our center backs look to in order to be able to play a ball over the top or find Steven in the middle, or our wingers, strikers, typically Camus, Santone, have definitely been helping us a lot in the playoffs here. But yeah, not just me alone, definitely the teammates around me that are helping this team to the run that we're on. That it means a lot for us to be able to have that kind of help.
You've over the last month and a half or so, Coach, you've been on a pretty good run with this group. Just a couple of losses, especially coming down the stretch. There was the one loss to Webster Groves on Saturday afternoon. That was really the last time this team has seen a defeat. And as this season winds down for you, how special is it for you as the head coach to be with these guys every day as the season winds down?
Yeah, I think what you said right there is the biggest thing coaches miss when seasons are over. I always tell the guys, and I'll tell the seniors, you could always replace the players, but what you can't replace are the people that graduate, and the talk in the hallways and the banter in the classroom, because we as coaches were their teachers as well throughout the day. And for me personally, that's what I miss down the road. When these guys leave. Vianney soccer returns in 2018 and beyond, but there'll never be another team like this. And there'll never be a chemistry like this, no matter what happens next year or the year after that. Here in 2017 is something special. And I want the focus of these guys in the next 48 hours is to make that something special, something tangibly that hasn't happened, in 25 years.
So at the beginning of the season, it's pretty safe to say that you guys teams weren't anticipating you to be here at the end of the year, and maybe caught some teams off guard at the beginning of the season. But what was the challenge maybe during the middle part of the season as you were winning more and more and things were progressing on the upward tick for your team?
Yeah, so the challenge was winning in the sense that we had so many games in a short period of time. And when you say the middle of the season, I keep thinking back to that CYC week where we had 5 games in 5 days and 5 quality games in 5 days, culminating with that championship. And I think it was that week and that moment where I felt, you know, there's really something special here, not just physically but mentally, because that's a mentally draining week. And then the other thing that's ticked is that these guys, I don't think we caught teams off guard. I think it was these guys rising to the occasion and learning how to win in different ways. Sometimes that way was physical. Sometimes that way was in a more possession, skillful sort of a way. Sometimes that way was in PKs, where you had to play 100 minutes and then some, or a combination of all three. And I think instead of it being teams being caught off guard, I think it was these guys around me that changed their level of play right around that CYC tournament week.
Ryan, what was it for you? What do you think it was about this team, and where do you think things just started to gel? And you guys got off to a really hot start, but there was a part in the middle part of the season where you guys hit a little bit of a lull, you couldn't score some goals, but then all of a sudden the light bulb went back on and things just started to click for this team.
Yeah, as Coach had mentioned, I think the CYC tournament was definitely what kind of helped us get together. There were 5 games in 5 days, which is definitely tough on us, but it definitely we had some players step up big for some injured players, and I think that helped add to the chemistry of the team, and I think that helped bring us together and be able to put some in the back of the net and come together as a team to win some games.
Stephen, you've been around this team for a while, and down the stretch you've scored some pretty important goals for this team. But it's not only you that are scoring the goals for this team, but you've got some guys around you that have been putting the ball in the net. Talk a little bit about them.
Yeah, obviously Jake and Camus, and I mean it's just not even them either, just them. It's really important for the team, you know, when we can rely on a guy like Jake and Camus to always be there, have a presence in the box or even outside the box and put the ball away for us. And it's been really important for us this postseason and during the season as well in tough games.
TJ, talk about the back four that have played in front of you, and the lineups changed during the course of the year, but talk about the guys that have played in front of you and Noah all season.
I think we've had very good defending, and the chemistry between the backs and the goalie in the midfield all the way through the field has been great, and that always helps. Then I think we showed just how good our defense is when Dolan got hurt and Clay stepped up from a guy not playing much all year to a guy coming in, getting every single minute and doing such a phenomenal job. For someone who was doing a phenomenal job, we just didn't skip a beat.
Balance is always important, and we've talked about it week in and week out that as a team, you guys have utilized your substitutions probably better than any team that I've seen probably in the last 5 years of high school soccer. And talk about the fact that you've been able to balance your lineup so much so that I think that you probably have more legs than most teams going into second halves.
Yeah, and unfortunately, sometimes those roles our guys have evolved into, and you know, sometimes it's 5 minutes, sometimes it's 10 minutes, quick shift, longer shift, whatever it might be. But those minutes just aren't in the scorebook, and unfortunately, you know, there's no stat that shows that, you know, that energy that somebody gives off the bench. And I'd be a fool to start mentioning names because it was so many guys that have done that, and we're going to need that from those guys this weekend. And that there, I think, sets us apart from past Vianney teams.
For you senior captains, you guys beat Chaminade for the district championship, and how rewarding is it to beat Chaminade, a team that's been around for a long time. You guys have been rivals for years, and you guys were able to beat them in the district championships. First you, Ryan.
Yeah, it was awesome, especially being able to do it at home. I think you had mentioned a stat during the game that was we hadn't been too hot versus them in the past 5 years or something, so to be able to do that in front of a crowd that was phenomenal. Our student section was awesome, and definitely the amount of people that were there to be able to do that in front of them was it was awesome. And then to be able to advance to the next round to play Howell, it definitely meant a lot to this school and to this program.
Stephen, you score a goal towards the latter part of the game, in which I think the goalie's still looking for because it went one direction, he went the other, and you scored the goal. You came towards the sideline, and you had a fist bump and a jump in the air. And I don't think I've seen you jump that high this year for any goal. And talk about maybe that was just kind of like the monkey off your back.
Yeah, it was just the emotion and the passion I was showing for the game. Obviously Chaminade got the better of us 3 or 4 years ago in the same place at this Met, and I think it was just, we wanted to do this for our school, and we wanted to get back into the Final Four, and this is our year, and we're going to take advantage of it.
TJ, you've been injured, haven't been able to play the last couple of games, and talk about Noah's play and how much support you've been for him over the last couple of games, and how you guys have meshed this year.
I think Noah's been phenomenal throughout the year, not just in the postseason, but ever since the first game all the way up until now. We've been in training, making each other better, and I think really showed in the CYC tournament when I had a concussion. He stepped up, and I don't think we allowed a goal ever through the Howell Central game, and I think that also comes from him and I being able to develop such good chemistry with the backs and everyone on the team to where they trust us and we trust them.
Finally, you get Kickapoo Friday night, and Kickapoo's a team that comes from the Springfield area, and you're expecting a physical game, of course, but how battle-tested are you at this point, going through some real physical teams in Parkway South and Eureka, Chaminade?
In our entire schedule. I mean, our whole schedule pretty much had every combination of any opponent you could possibly see. And, I wouldn't put past any opponent with these guys to my right and left and in front and behind. All we got to worry about is ourselves. And like I said, the result will speak for itself. The process these guys went through this year to prepare for this weekend has been phenomenal. And even through the district tournament, to have to do that on the road and have so many road games this year is only going to prepare us for playing at Soccer Park.
Ladies and gentlemen, your 2017 Vianney Griffins soccer team headed to the Final Four this weekend over at Soccer Park, and I wish them the best of luck this weekend.